Hello, bon dia, and welcome to the Rolex 6 Hours of Sao Paulo at the wondrous Autodromo Carlos Pache, a roller coaster of a circuit between two lakes, hence it's called Interlagos. And we're into the second phase of the 2025 FIA World Endurance Championship season. For this preview, we've got a special guest and an old friend, but can you guess who it is? It is, of course, friend of the WEC paddock, Darren Turner, Le Mans legend, WEC, 8-time WEC race winner for Aston Martin. And Darren, great to see you back in the paddock.
It's great, lovely to be back here at Interlagos. It's one of my favourite circuits. When it came onto the calendar, when I did the WEC Championship many years ago, it was one of those real highlights of the year. So fantastic to be here. And since this morning, the sun's come out and it's going to be a perfect weekend for some great racing.
Listen, we have to start with that incredible victory for the people behind us, the number 83 AF Course Ferrari, the satellite operation of the factory team, Robert Kubica, Yifei, and Phil Hansen. But listen, Kubica took all the headlines. It was an epic endurance, an old school endurance drive from him. The last 5 stints, a broken drinks bottle. Tell us from a driver's point of view just how mighty that was.
Exactly, it was mighty. You know, to be in the car, having done, a good portion of the race already, and then probably didn't even know that he was going to be running to the flag, paced himself in the last couple of stints and then getting the call to say, right, are you good? Can you stay in the car? Drinks bottle's gone. All of the things going against you, but still put in that incredible performance and keeping the pace up and making sure that, they were competitive right up to the flag. And ultimately, he gave them the win for the 83 car. So, superb performance. He should be rightly proud of that achievement.
Absolutely are. And look, you can't get anything more different than going from Le Mans to Interlagos. Narrow track, all about traffic management, qualifying super important. I read a stat recently that the 4 previous races here, it's either been the pole sitter or the front row starter that's gone on to win the event. So qualifying is super important. From a driver's point of view, how do you approach that? What does it mean to be on pole in an endurance race like this?
Yeah, when you have Le Mans, obviously qualifying is less important. You want to be top 10 roughly, but the most important thing is to have a car that's well balanced. And as you go into the race that you've got everything checked off, it's going to be good in the night, it's going to be good in the day. But, you probably don't focus too much on qualifying. But here, their practice sessions, they're going to have to focus on qualifying. Someone who's going to have to be sort of nominated quite early in the weekend, get the tyres and make sure they get the car to the position they want it to be in qualifying, and try and make sure, like you say, it's always been a front row starter that has gone on to win the race. But that is going to be critical now to make sure they have a car that's super competitive in that qualifying mode.
There's a feeling in the paddock the Ferrari's 100% win record this season could be broken. I think there's chances all through the field. So what do you feel about that? Who's going to take the fight to Ferrari?
Well, let's go and have a look. We'll go down pit lane, see what Toyota are up to and the Porsche.
Let's do it. So here we are at Toyota, and the number 8, which won the race last year, with Sebastian Buemi, Ryo Hirakawa and Brendan Hartley. But there's somebody missing, Darren. I can hardly believe that Sebastian Buemi will miss his first WEC race since Shanghai 2012. I mean, what a stalwart, what a linchpin of this team.
He's been incredible for Toyota. His success on the circuit, everything he does for Toyota off the circuit as well, he's a real linchpin to this team. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they all operate. Both 7 and 8, and obviously it's a tight-knit Toyota team. But Brendan and Rio, they've got their work cut out this weekend. There's a flip side in terms of if you're running only 2 drivers, everyone's going to get a little bit more track time. You can sort of make the setup probably a little bit more to your liking. But then it does mean that you've got more of the stints in the race itself. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how car 8 gets on this weekend without Sebastian being here.
So let's move over now to Porsche. We saw that fantastic race that number 6 had at Le Mans. Kevin Estre, Lawrence Vanthoor and Matt Campbell had the perfect race, but just weren't able to get up to the 83 there. Porsche feel like, after almost a year since they won their last race at Fuji last September, they feel ripe for really challenging for another victory here.
I'd expect them to be there. They were strong here last year, had good pace, strong in both qualifying and the race itself. So, I believe their time is coming. Whether it is this weekend, who knows? Let's see. But I think the mix will be a lot closer than it has been in other races. They certainly had the pace at Le Mans to have a run at the win, and they were very close. So, hopefully that momentum is carrying on for them as we come here to Interlagos.
Just tell us about, as a driver, how you have to adapt and what sort of things they're going to be prioritising, Darren, as they go down from 3 to 2 drivers.
Yeah, obviously it's key that that whole working relationship is still strong between the 2 drivers, and it's quite normal. You go to events where you might be a 2-driver team, but you bring in a 3rd driver and you have to get used to that 3rd driver coming in. So it's just the opposite, really, a driver dropping out. But like I said, with the fact that number 8's lost Sebastian, there is some benefits. The fact that you're not having to share so much track time between the 3 drivers, and you'll ultimately end up with more time in the car before the actual start of the race. So there's a little bit of a negative, and then there's also the positive there. So again, it'll be interesting to see, between the Peugeot, the Porsches and the Aston Martin, that combination of 2 drivers, who's going to end up with the best combo.
So while we're in the neighbourhood, Darren, see some old friends at Aston Martin. I mean, this is a car, just a wondrous project, the Valkyrie Hypercar, and you were involved in it and you're thriving, seeing it progress as it goes into its maiden season.
Well, I had a very small involvement at the beginning. Thankfully, I know Ian James, Heart of Racing, and they were happy for me to sort of have a number of goes at the beginning of the testing program. But then it's been moved on. Great caliber of race drivers here at the team. They did a fantastic job developing the car. And then we saw it, at Le Mans, just get one car hyper pole, and then obviously both cars to the end of the race. First 24-hour race with the car, and both cars made it to the line without any real issues at all. So yeah, it's a delight to see these cars on the track, to hear them out there as well, and what a great program for everyone to be involved with.
So down at Cadillac, Kurt's team, Jota, now these beautiful gold V-Series R hypercars, Darren, and what a headline they created at Le Mans. Pole position, Alex Lynn making an incredible lap, especially Sector 3. I mean, you saw it. As a driver, did you empathise with what Alex did there? And tell us a little bit about Alex, because he's one of the sort of almost unsung heroes of the wet paddock.
He shouldn't be. He's really on form at the moment. He's just growing with stature and confidence, and he's a lead driver, and his performance at Le Mans this year was absolutely superb. Yeah, it's just really nice to see that he's found that sort of sweet spot, and he's just excelling at the very front of this exciting grid of hypercars. So that's really good to see. And the bit for me, I'm a massive fan, obviously, of the Aston Martin V12 and the Cadillac with the V8. Just listening to these 2 cars out on the racetrack, it sort of reminds me, harking back to when I was doing GT1, when it was the battle between the Corvette V8s and the DBR9s and the V12s. It's that sort of era. These 2 great manufacturers going head to head, not just in lap time performance, but actually with the sound of the cars as well.
Well, team boss Sam Hignett has been playing down the chances here in Interlagos. They qualified 4th here last year, so they had some speed, but he's saying that Fuji might be the track that suits them more, but we'll find out on Sunday afternoon. So LMGT3 has been unbelievably close this season. The number 92 won at Imola, and it also won at Le Mans, just 6 points in it in this race for the title, Darren. And the Manthey first form crew looking for a hat-trick of victories here this weekend, and you wouldn't put it past them with Ricard Leitz in the team. What a legend he is. I mean, over 20 years now, he's been winning weekend out in GTs.
He's just too good, isn't he, Richard? And the thing is, he's such a lovely guy with it as well. I've had plenty of times on circuit with him. It always felt like you could race hard and fair, but it was never going to be over the line. And it's great to see, 5 wins now at Le Mans. That must be getting close to one of the records in GT racing. When you've been around as many racing seasons as Richard has, to still be able to perform and put those results in is a true sort of reflection of his talent, really.
Practice makes perfect, Darren, always. And
pretty slick to me, so
yeah, they're going to need a bit of practice. They got a last-minute driver replacement this weekend. Timo Boguslavski is out of the car. He's ill, unfortunately, so get well soon, Timo. And he's been replaced by Pedro Ibrahim, who's an up-and-coming GT driver in Europe, Brazilian, but racing in Europe this year. When you get that last-minute replacement, what's it like as a team? You've got to adapt, got to pivot. What do you remember of that kind of change you had to make?
I think for Pedro, it can only be a win-win situation this weekend to get the opportunity. hopefully knows the circuit well with a bit of local knowledge. And then it's down to the other guys to actually welcome him in and give him everything that he needs to be able to get up to the level they require from him. And quite often, if you're the more established driver in there, as like the platinum or the gold, you have to sort of give up some of your own track time to sort of help someone who's just come in for the first time of the weekend to adapt to the car, to adapt to the team, and just make sure you're giving them as much help as possible, because you want all three of you to be as strong as you can when it comes to that, the green flag and the start of the race. So yeah, there's a compromise probably for everyone in the team, but hopefully Pedro will be up and running pretty quickly out there in free practice 1.
Well, he's going to be learning from the master, because Augusto Farfus, the local legend, is in this car as well, the Ben WRT car. And Augusto will have the support of the whole of Interlagos come Sunday afternoon. Again, another legend, another big star as part of this WEC paddock.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you see the livery on the car. It's very much the Brazilian car this weekend, isn't it? So it looks fantastic. I'm sure they're going to be super competitive, and as they should be. The BMW is a strong package. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how qualifying goes for them. And then a little bit like Hyperpole in the hypercars, it's going to be, the further up the grid they are, the better it's going to be. It's really critical. I can't sort of emphasise how critical qualifying is going to be, not just for the hypercars, but also for the GT cars as well.
Well, if there's one team that had a really tough Le Mans, it was United Autosports and their pair of McLaren GT3s, Darren. But again, if there's one team who can fight back from it and get a great result, it's these guys. I mean, they're real steadfast, real racers team. And this car actually was really quick here last year, got their first podium in the WEC, and there's a feeling they can kick on and challenge right at the front again this weekend. Yeah,
100%. United Autosport is a proper team. I'm not saying any other team isn't, but they're all of a super high level, and United would be able to bounce back from weekends that don't go to plan. That's the thing. That's one of the big things about motorsport, is it's never an easy ride, and it's how you pick yourself up after a disappointing weekend. And United will be able to do that. So they had success here before. They were strong. The McLaren was strong around here. It's a circuit that probably does suit the car. So my feeling is they could be right in the running for not just qualifying, but actually a podium as well at the end of the 6 hours on Sunday. So it'd be interesting to see, but hopefully for them, they have a good start to the weekend in free practice 1.
What better place, Darren, to do the infamous predictions of both classes, Hypercar and LMGT3, than on the starting grid, which is going to be packed with people in anticipation for the start at 11:30 on Sunday. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Spotlight's on you. Hypercar prediction and LMGT3. Who are going to be our winners on Sunday afternoon?
Hypercar, obviously Toyota and Porsche were strong last year, and Ferrari not so much in the mix. So that said, they've had a great Le Mans, and there's a bit of momentum with the team at the moment. So I think they're going to be in with a shout, but I'm going to stick with one of the Porsches. Car 6. I'm going to go car 6 for the win. Toyota on a podium and a Ferrari on the podium as well. So that's my Hypercar prediction.
Got a nice spread of the glamorous, more of the glamorous cars there. I'm going to go for what it's worth. I'm going to go for a shot maiden victory for the number 15 BMW. I can see them coming good here. I think certain aspects of this track will suit the BMW Hypercar. GT3, I'm going to go for one of the United Autosport McLarens. I think they learnt a lot last year here with that third place. I'm going to go for the 59 car. They had a really tough Le Mans, and they're going to bounce back, and they're going to bring home the gold on Sunday afternoons.
Okay, I'm not going to go with a McLaren. I think they're going to be there or thereabouts. But last year, obviously Heart Racing 27, it did have a good race, then followed that up with a win at Qatar. So I'm going to go with like the home team for me, and put the 27 on the top step of the podium. They had a great qualifying session at Le Mans with Mattia. So yeah, I'm putting my money on the home car.
Who would have thought it?
I know,
Darren Turner,
so predictable,
back in Aston Martin Racing. Fantastic stuff. Well, you can find out, of course, what happens across the Rolex 6 Hours of Sao Paulo this Sunday by logging on to the FIA WEC.tv channel and finding out what's going on. Free Practice 3 also is live, so you've got a whole array of action to follow this weekend.